Hey, what's up guys, Lord Civic here, and today we're going to be talking about RubyPro's new detachable full fiber optic display port cable. This is the third time that I've worked at RubyPro, and it's been an absolute pleasure every single time. Before I hop in, I just want to also say thank you so much to Asus for providing one of the three monitors that we're going to be using in today's video. This is the Asus AQ-DPG, I forgot the full name, but this is one of the first 1440p 500Hz QD-OLED monitors. I believe Gigabyte, MSI, and Samsung also have their own variants as well. But this is a DisplayPort 1.4 capable display, and then the other monitor that is used, the 32-inch, is the PG32 UCDM, and then we also have the LG 45GX950A. So I state all the name of the monitors because this one and the other Asus one are DisplayPort 1.4 cable monitors, and then the LG is capable of outputting DisplayPort 2.1, but it's not the full 80 gigabit speed. I think it's like 30 or 40 or whatever, which is a third of like what it's, or almost a third of what its maximized speed is. But I just really want to applaud RubyPro for making this so quickly, because the last product that I reviewed by them was the HDMI detachable cable, and it's like crazy to say, but like it legitimately is my favorite cable ever. Which the reason it's crazy to say is because cables in industry they have one use, really. They're just supposed to be able to transmit the amount of data that they are advertised to do. And you know, some, especially back in the day, I mean, it's not as much as commonplace now, but a lot of times you'll have these cables and they won't be able to actually do what they are advertised. But not only that, RubyPro is innovated in that industry and has now made detachable cables. So not only is this cable capable of outputting DisplayPort 1.4 capable speeds, but in addition, it is future-proof. So currently right now, this is, and I tested all the range of the cables from 2 meters all the way to 7.6 meters. So currently right now, this cable is capable of outputting DisplayPort 2.1. Currently right now, what is the limiter is the 1.4 heads. RubyPro currently right now is working on getting the 2.1, but on the box, and as stated, I sent an email asking RubyPro themselves, the cable itself is future-proof. So whenever the 2.1 variants of these heads come out, you can just buy them off of RubyPro's website or Amazon or whatever, and then just snap them right on the cable and then they'll work. But that's not really only the coolest aspect. And like, you might be saying, okay, but I have a DisplayPort 2.1 capable display and I'd like to utilize the speeds. And if you want that, you know, there's other stuff you can choose right now. Honestly, I would choose, I highly recommend RubyPro. Even they make cables that are not detachable as well. But what really makes this cable so cool and sets it apart from basically any cable that I've used before, and not any cable that I've used before, any other cable that I've used before other than the other detachable HDMI RubyPro cable, is the same thing that I kind of stated in the HDMI video, is making the cable and the head detachable allows so much flexibility for the user. I can't tell you how many times I tinker with my setup, move something to a different part of the room, or move something around, want a wire to wrap around a different way. And it is such a headache, like going behind, in the case of my TV, trying to go behind my receiver, plug it in, snap it out, make sure the wire's all wrapped around, and then the head of the cable getting like stuck on another wire or under a rug or everything. But with this cable being detachable, and the same logic kind of applies to when you're using the desktop desk. If you have your monitor right up against the wall, it is a headache having to turn the monitor around, make sure the display port comes out in a nice orderly conduct, and then snap it back in. Especially, like, I'm not dissing the way these monitors are made, because it's like basically every single one does the same thing, and I would rather have my wire going downwards than protruding outwards like a TV, especially with a TV, you know, it's like really big, it's blocking all the wires, you're not really gonna see all that stuff like that. But trying to fit a display port, especially since you know, they have the ends where they're not like shaped the exact same. I mean, HDMI, you have to put it in the same way as well, with that logic too. But being able to, you know, take the cable, take the cable head, snap it into the monitor all day. Today, I shot all the monitors with these cables that in the video that you see right now with this, what I would do is I would just snap the display port into the cable, into the monitor itself. I would put it in each of the monitors, and that's why I got so many of these cables, in addition to wanting to be able to get more cables so I can like test and like lighting and different stuff like that. But I would prop this into the monitor. Then when I was ready to do the monitor, I was using the same exact cable with each one. It is such a simple process, man. You literally just take out this end that's kind of like just blocky it, take out this as well, and then you make sure that it's going the right direction. Easy. It's easy. It's easy. It's snappy. It's straightforward. Yeah, they're a little pricier than your traditional DisplayPort cable, but for a lot of people that are either going to be doing hot swapping like me, which I guess is a small case usage, but in a lot of cases, there's a lot of people that want to tinker with their system, whether you have a desk mount, whether you have a swivel mount. I don't have my monitors ever against the wall, really, because of the specific setup that I have currently right now. But as somebody that's had that in the past, I can't tell you how much of an annoyance it's been where I can't get behind my desk, my monitor's against the wall, and I literally have to try to like either sit on my desk and like slide around to slot the DisplayPort cable in, or turn the monitor around, especially when I had the G9 Neo. That thing is so freaking heavy. Oh my goodness, it was such a headache doing that. If I had this cable at the time, it would not have been like remotely in the case. And like, especially as a content creator user, that, you know, before, a lot of times when I was talking about one monitor, I would really have the other monitor on the desk. But realistically, with, you know, the current setup that I have right now, and then also with this DisplayPort cable, it is made like right now I just have my LG GX9 sitting right there, my PG-32 CDM sitting right there, and when I want to plug it in, that's why I got, as I said, that's why I got multiple cables. I literally can just plug them in, snap them in. The DisplayPort is sitting on the end of each one, ready to just be slotted back in. Whenever I want to move the cables around or tinker them or make sure they go through another thing, I don't have to worry about when I'm putting my wire throughout the desk if it gets stuck on, you know, in the hole, or it's just any of those like little headaches and stuff like that. Now, as I said, this cable is only 1.4 right now. In the future, I feel like this is going to be like a no-brainer for especially people that have DisplayPort 2.1 cable things. But like if you're somebody like me right now that has mostly 1.4 capable monitors, or a single monitor that's 1.4 capable, I even tested it on the LG GX9. You're seeing a lot of LG GX9 footage throughout the video, but in the case of that, I just put it down to DisplayPort 1.4, and the monitor worked perfectly fine. No dropouts, no things. This monitor is 1440p 500Hz. I did 4K 240Hz, 5K 2K 165Hz. Everything ran smoothly. Now, there's one caveat that I have to state, because I know that a lot of my viewers are people that get like ridiculously high-end monitors like the LG GX9. That's something that I've been covering pretty extensively on my channel of late. Now, the reason I state that is because in the user manual, and I didn't have to do this with either the Asus models, but the LG monitor, I don't believe it provides power to the DisplayPort, and even the USB ports are not powered as well. You have to plug a USB-C from the LG GX9 into another USB-C on your desktop, or to a USB port, because it talks about this in instructions. The ends usually doesn't need this USB cable for power supply. If the blue light on the display does not light up, then you need to supply power via the USB interface. So when I plugged up the Asus AQ-DPG, it worked fine out of the box. When I plugged it up to the PG-32 UCDM, it worked fine out of the box. When I plugged it up to the LG X9, I thought it wasn't outputting, because I know that the monitor is not capable of outputting, the cable is not capable of outputting 2.1 right now, because as I said, it's future-proof. But in the case of that, I put it down to 1.4, and I was still not getting anything. And then I realized that there was no light on the DisplayPort. There was a light on the desktop itself, but not on the monitor and the DisplayPort. So I tried plugging in the USB to that, and that didn't work either, because as I stated earlier, the USB ports on the LG X9 aren't up. They need power from the desktop. And I guess that's kind of like the thing of people were talking about with KVM support, and now I kind of like really understand that. I don't really do a lot of like work along that line on my LG G9, but like I could definitely see like kind of people's like hindrance and like hesitance to get it in the case of that. Hopefully the 990A supports KVM, because that's, now that I understand what it is, that's kind of like a huge oversight. But you know, right now, as somebody that has mostly DisplayPort 1.4 capable things, and then plans on getting DisplayPort 2.1 capable displays as well, I plan on getting the PG32 UCDM-R very soon, and then the PG2070 UCDM. This is like a really good cable, and I raved so much about RuiPro and what they did with the HDMI variant, the HDMI 2.1 variant. I love it. It's the only cable I use right now from my desktop PC to my Sony A95L that is like almost 20 feet across the room. And as I said, I tested both the 2 meter variant and the 7.6 meter variant. I also have 5 meters and 3 meters as well. I tested the 3 meters one, but I haven't tested the 5 meters one. But if the 7.6 meter one works fine and I didn't get any dropouts, then I don't really see there be much issue with the 5 meter one, because it's even shorter. But thank you again, RuiPro, so much for sending me out this cable. I'm so happy that somebody is like really innovating in cable technology, as I said, in an industry that really doesn't really need innovation, but it's still very nice to have. And as a content creator that is all the time switching out desktops and displays and moving things and tinkering with my setup, this is like legitimately perfect. And I can't wait for the DisplayPort 2.1 capable heads to come out. But thank you again so much for RuiPro, and thank you again so much to Asus for sending out this monitor that I was able to showcase in today's video. And then I'm also going to do a review and stuff on that. All the products and everything that you've seen I spoke about in the video, like the RuiPro and even the stuff you see behind me, a lot of you guys have been asking about that lately. You can find all that in the description below. Regardless, thank you guys again so much for watching, and have a great day.